I was a bit disappointed when the national budget came and it didn't speak to the issue of drugs being a national emergency in Liberia. I was a disappointment to me. It was a disappointment, I think, to the young people of our country.
Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, LDA, Ministry of Justice, 21 Street, Chairman, Cinco. Program marking the observance of June 26, International Day of Drugs, Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Training, construction of drugs at Disco Hill, RIA Road, RIA Highway, Maggie County. Colors of the program. Okay, let's go straight to the welcoming remark. You people are all welcome to the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. This is our training exercise, and this is how we do it. Normally, every June 26th of every year, during drugs. So you are once again welcome to this all important program. Thank you. And then we have our opening statement by Principal K. Peters, ORC LDA.
Representative Bourgeois, Chairman on Drugs and Rehabilitation, House of Representatives, Mr. Steve Kissick, the annual representative here, my colleagues from LDA and other institutions, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We're grateful to be here today to see that we destroy drugs and Seashores Bay for the year in review. We made an attempt last Friday. We were not successful because of the weather. But this is in continuation of what we've already begun across the country. Most of our bigger counties did burn the seashores they had on June 26. And today we're coming for Monserrado destruction and burning day. So on behalf of the LDA, let us say you're welcome and thank you for coming. The stats we have for this year destruction, we have 7 different categories of drugs that will be destroyed here today. We have heroin, cocaine, kush, marijuana, precursor, tramadol, and methamphetamine. And we'll give the journalists the stats, but the grand total value in terms of dollars, in US dollar, we got 337,180 US dollar. We have 64,064,200 Liberian dollars. So that's the value of the drugs we'll be destroying here today. So I want to say we're hopeful and that the exercise will go on because the weather is good. And again, thank you for coming to watch this great milestone for LDA. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have special remarks by Representative Thomas Osha, Chairman on Drugs and Rehabilitation.
Well, it's still right here, right? Yeah. Okay, good afternoon to all of us. The representative from INL, officers, officer in charge, officers, the members of the LDEA, members of the press, international partners. I'm happy to be here to represent the Speaker and members of the 55th Liberia Legislature. Like the ORC said, my name is Thomas A. Goswa II. I represent Grand Bassa District number 5. I'm the chairperson on drugs rehabilitation and reintegration at the Liberian Legislature. Today, we thought to be a part of it, of this exercise, since it's a routine thing. It shows to us and our international partners and the world at large that the stance that we are now taking to fight drugs in Liberia is something that we are all happy about. The issue of drugs, I'm into this because it's something that I feel and know that targets the future of Liberia. Most oftentimes, we say the future leaders of Liberia are the young people. And if the drugs that are being brought in and trafficked to Liberia targets the young people, definitely it means it targets the future of Liberia. They don't want Liberia to exist. And so at the legislature, we thought to be in sync with the president and his agenda when he spoke about drugs being a national health emergency. And so we at the legislature we want to be a part of it. We will have direct oversight of every activity that has to do with drug rehabilitation and reintegration, so that we can start to chart a new course, see how our young people that are destitute can have a semblance of hope. According to statistics, one of the United Nations organizations, it says that a fifth of our population is hooked on drugs. They are using drugs. That is an amount that is very, very scary. What hope do we have for our country? I oftentimes tell people in 1990, it took less than 40,000 persons to wreak havoc on this country, to bring wanton destruction that we are still struggling to recover from today. And if less than 40,000 persons who have done such to our country, what more than 1.1 million of our people? Because if you take a fifth of our population, approximately 5.52 million people in Liberia, a fifth of that should be approximately 1.1 million. And if less than 40,000 persons could have caused that destruction, if care is not taken, if we as citizens of this country do not take this issue of drugs prevalence in Liberia, we will be going down the hill. I often say it's a doom hanging over our country. The conditions that led those 40,000 persons or less to bring wanton destruction, they said because they were disgruntled, they were not a part of the decision making, they felt left out, they felt destitute, they felt disadvantaged, and so they brought war. We have 1.1 million people that are even more disadvantaged than those less than 40,000 persons that caused destruction. We need to take the issue of drugs. That's the reason why I was a bit disappointed when the national budget came and it didn't speak to the issue of drugs being a national emergency in Liberia. It was a disappointment to me. It was a disappointment, I think, to the young people of our country. We should be investing. The theme for this year is invest in prevention, because the evidence is clear. Whoever came up with that theme for the International Drugs Day, I feel they were speaking directly to Liberia. Because in Liberia, you don't need anyone to tell you what the evidence, what's the cause, and how harmful drug is. The evidence is there. You can see it. Every day you walk the street, you see the kind of destruction that drugs are doing to our country. So we need to invest in prevention. That's the only way. We see that the national budget focuses on rehabilitation. Yes, rehabilitation is good. We should get involved in it. But if we do not cut the supply of drugs coming to Liberia, if we do not start to do the right things to prevent drugs from coming to Liberia, we'll be rehabilitating 100%, 200% will be getting hooked on drugs, because the line of supply is still there. And so I've taken upon it, me and my committee members, with support from the legislature, to see how we can lend our support in whatever way possible. In whatever way possible, because this country is going down the drain if we do not address the issue of narcotic substances use and abuse in Liberia. And so we are willing to work along with the LDEA, with the international partners, and the steering committee that was being set up by the president, so that we can ensure that the future of Liberia can be safeguarded. If we say the young people are the future leaders of Liberia, we must stand up now, because if care isn't taken, there will be no future for the future leaders to lead. I want to end on that, and as we go through these processes, let's send a signal, let's send a message out that we are prepared to fight, we are prepared to do all that we can to safeguard our future, and that we just need the necessary support. We've been going around the community to ensure that people within the community get to know and feel what drug is doing. We will not be able to achieve it if the ordinary citizens are not. This is not a security thing. It is an issue that every well-meaning Liberian should be involved with, from the community level up to the higher level in the country. Because There is practically no home now in Liberia that is not being affected by the use and abuse of narcotic substances. No home. If you see you are a representative, a senator, or even a president, wherever form that you find yourself in, the issue of drug is raging and has taken over our country, and we need to be very, 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 very aware. Let's continue to pass the message on that we should invest in the preventive measure because the evidence is clear. Thank you once more for the opportunity as we go through this exercise today.
Amen. Game one. Yeah.
We will now call on our international partners, International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. Mr. Steve, you're all yours.
Thank you. All protocols observed. So I appreciate the invitation, Chris, to our other distinguished guests, Representative Joshua. It's a pleasure to meet you here today. It's always a pleasure to meet an ally in the war against drugs. I think everyone knows the U.S.'s position on the war on drugs. We're happy to be here every year supporting the LDEA in these efforts. The work that's being done cannot be underemphasized. This is an example of successes. I think today we're here to celebrate success. We're not ignoring the fact that more work can be done and more work needs to be done, but we are going to acknowledge that work is being done and that there are some small successes happening here in Liberia, as they are all over the world as we make this effort. So I'm going to keep my comments short. I think it's important to focus on Liberia and on LDEA today and on the successful drug burn. And again, thank you for the invitation, and know that INL and the U.S. government support your efforts to fight drugs and drug trafficking in Liberia. Thank you.
Are you motivated?
Motivated, dedicated. Yeah.
Our international partner one.
Yeah.
We now have the Justice Minister, the representatives here.
Straight to the front, huh?
Thank you very much. I stand on existing protocol and just to represent the Minister of Justice, Councillor Oswald Toy, who has national engagement at the moment and has to support the OIC, Peters, Christopher Peters, as we conduct this exercise. I want to thank our partners who have supported us in the fight against drugs. And the Minister have extended his full support to this process, and the Minister of Justice will continue to support this process. Thank you very much.
Can you get an amen? Amen. Get a one.
Yeah.
Anybody from the CSO?
Yes.